Some new information just in as President Biden has revealed the framework of the stimulus package. Let's get into it and discuss all the details. But really quickly, thank you so much for watching. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video, as my objective is always to be here for you, bringing you all these latest updates as they're being released, as well as talking through other very important information as your one and only daily advocate, and I'm here to help you out in any way that I can, as that is my commitment to you and this community as a whole. So again, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe down below and let's get into this right away. All right, it has been a very busy day already. In fact, President Biden was out just a short time ago revealing the framework of the stimulus package. Now, this happened at a 9 a.m. caucus meeting between Democrats. He revealed the framework and he endorsed the framework. So let's quickly walk through what was actually revealed in this unveilment. So the package is now coming in at $1.75 trillion as a result of this framework. There's many different provisions in there that we were anticipating, and there's many of them that didn't quite make the cut. However, there are still a couple that are still up in the air right now. Let me quickly talk through a couple things about this. Here's what's really interesting. As I mentioned, the price tag is $1.75 trillion. However, the pay-fors of this package are actually going to generate $1.995 trillion. So nearly $250 billion more than the actual cost of the package. So what are they going to do with that extra money? It's anybody's guess at this point, right? So either way, kind of interesting how the pay-fors will generate that extra $250 billion above and beyond what is actually needed for the package. However, this package does include an extension of the child tax credit for 12 months through the end of 2022. There's also funding in there for childcare, the expansion of the paid family leave. That was removed as of yesterday evening. There is money in there for home care for elderly and disabled. That's a nice one in there. So that's a really good one right there as well. There's also money in there for climate. There's $550 billion in there for climate. So those are kind of the main ones that are coming out of this. Now, when it comes to Medicare expansion, you might be wondering what's going on with that. Well, believe it or not, that one is still up in the air right now. Even though we have this framework right here and it looks like this is a done deal, it's actually not done yet because there are still negotiations ongoing right now on this Medicare expansion, as well as how they can actually negotiate prescription prices. So these ones are still up in the air right now. However, this is kind of the framework that President Biden wanted to lay out before he leaves for Europe, literally in like a couple hours from right now. So here's the thing. He was actually supposed to be on his way to Rome right now, but he actually extended his departure time by a few hours so that he could meet with the Democratic caucus this morning at 9 a.m. during their regular breakfast meeting. So he met with them to unveil this framework. Now, he's also going to be speaking to the public at 11:30 a.m. If you want to catch that, it's going to be 11:30 a.m. East Coast time. So he will be out talking about that and addressing the public on this framework that he just revealed this morning. So the whole idea behind unveiling this, remember, now this is this is their strategy. This is the whole idea why he's unveiling this morning right away before he hops on a plane and flies over to Rome. So here's the whole idea behind this. They want to get behind the support for these packages because he wants to be able to point back at these when he attends the climate summit here in just a matter of a couple days and see, so that he can basically say, hey, check out what the U.S. is doing. But here's what's going to happen. We've already heard this morning from Pramila Jayapal. Remember that name? We've talked about her a few times so far over the last few days here. So basically, she has already been out this morning saying, you know, this framework is not enough to garner the number of votes that we need to actually pass through with the bipartisan infrastructure deal. So the whole idea why he unveiled this morning is, number one, so that he has something to lean back on when he's over in Europe talking about or at the climate summit. Number two is because this was in a way trying to get Nancy Pelosi to come together with her party, with all of her constituents right there in the House, and basically say, okay, we've got the final framework. Now can we all agree that we will vote on the bipartisan infrastructure package? Well, Pramila Jayapal was out this morning and said, this is not enough to get the votes that we need. We need something a little bit more solid. So we're still looking at possibly next week for the final votes and all this stuff, even though The whole idea was to bring that infrastructure bill, the bipartisan bill, that $1.2 trillion bill, to the floor today in the House to actually get it passed. Well, that's going to be up to Nancy Pelosi to decide, does she feel like she has enough votes within the House to bring the infrastructure bill and get a final vote, or is this not going to be quite enough based on what Pramila Jayapal was also saying? So you kind of see the strategy behind this. It was a whole strategy to get the infrastructure bill to the House floor today for that final vote before President Biden actually touches down in Rome and then onto the climate summit. So it's looking like that's probably not going to happen based on what is being said so far this morning. I mean, things have only been going on for like an hour now. Seriously, it's still very early. There's still that public announcement by the president at 11:30. There will be ongoing talks today about all of this. And remember, they were supposed to vote on the bills yesterday. If you saw my video from last night, I said, wait, vote today? Well, no, that's what they were saying leading up to yesterday, and it never happened. Well, one more thing we need to consider too is if they do not vote on the infrastructure package, they need to extend out once again and kick the can down the road on the surface transportation bill, which is only funded through Saturday, right? So once again, they're right up to they have their backs against the wall when it comes to another deadline, and they're basically just sitting here doing who knows what they're doing, right? So kind of interesting stuff. But yeah, it's been a very busy morning already today, and we're seeing the framework of this bill. Now remember, this is just kind of the framework so far. It's like when you build a house, right? You kind of build a foundation, you build the structure up on top, all the walls are framed, but yet you don't have any drywall hung, you don't have any windows in, you just kind of see the structure of the home, right? So it's basically the same thing right here. We see the framework, we see the frame, pretty nice looking house. Well, I mean, is it really? You know what I mean? It looks decent, but it's not like the best thing in the world. But anyway, this is the framework. Now it is time to come in and start doing the intricate details. Hanging the drywall, putting the trim on, hanging doors, putting the windows in. I don't know. I don't build houses. I don't really know the process, but I've watched them. It's kind of interesting to watch the whole process go down. But anyway, my point is, so now it is time to come through and actually negotiate out all those intricate details like the Medicare expansion. Will that actually make it in there? What about this negotiations of prescriptions? Will that be negotiated out and added in somehow? Or what else is out there right now that they could possibly add into this thing? Here's what's interesting as well. We do know that Joe Manchin is interested in supporting about $1.5 trillion, but he has indicated maybe up to 1.75. So we'll have to see. Is this going to cross the line when it comes to Joe Manchin? Or what else I'd like to know is, according to the pay-fors on this thing, the expansion of taxes. By the way, I didn't get into the details on that because I honestly figured most of you probably don't really care. If you want, I can go through the details really briefly. But let me just say this really quickly, and then I'll go into some of the details of the pay-fors if you're interested in watching that part. But really quickly, like I said, the package will be $1.75 trillion. However, the pay-fors will generate $1.995 trillion. So basically $250 billion more than what they need. So what could we do with that money? I don't know. Has anybody been listening to what I've been saying for a while now? It would only cost about $98 billion to send out a focused fourth stimulus check in the amount of $1,400 to Social Security and fixed income beneficiaries. At that rate, we could send out 2.5 of my checks that I've been talking about for a while now, right? So, I mean, I don't know. It just seems so mind-blowing that there's this $250 billion that'll be generated, but yet we're not putting it to good use. Or they're going to collect the money anyway. Why not do something with it? So I don't know. Anyway, let's quickly run through some of the pay-fors. If you're interested in hearing this part, I'm going to talk about the pay-fors right now. If you're not, I really appreciate you watching this. I'll continue to keep you updated. All right, so let's go through these pay-fors really quickly. So what they're going to be doing is implementing a 15% minimum tax on corporations. Now, this would swoop in those corporations that they've talked about so many times throughout the course of the year, where they pay, zero taxes or very little taxes based on hundreds of billions of dollars or, tens of billions of dollars of revenue in the course of a year. So that would swoop in these businesses, right? So a 15% minimum tax. There's also going to be a surcharge on anybody that has income over $10 million. So an extra surcharge for those individuals as well. There's also going to be a millionaire and billionaire tax added in, which we know is going to be a little bit controversial. In fact, the billionaire tax I talked about yesterday was actually thrown out last night. But Ron Wyden has vowed that he will continue to work on this and said that he's going to do whatever he can to make sure that this it's going to be added in there. So Ron Wyden is still working on that, even though it was essentially thrown out and completely discarded as of yesterday, last night. So anyway, those are the pay-fors on this thing. Kind of interesting with everything going on right now. But either way, it's been very busy already this morning with the announcement of this framework and everything out of the president. And remember, if you want to hear him speak on this live, it will be 11:30 a.m. today, Eastern Time. Watch for that. And then shortly after he makes that announcement, he'll be hopping on his plane and flying over to Rome. So yeah, wow. And then Congress, I imagine, will be continuing to negotiate many of the details throughout the rest of this week, as in the rest of today. There's a lot of today left, right? And then tomorrow as well, and probably over the weekend, simply because they have to get something done. Otherwise, they'll be facing the expiration of the Surface Transportation Bill, which they extended out 30 days as of the end of last month. So, wow, they got a lot of stuff going on once again. So, enjoy your day. I hope this helps you out. I just want to continue to bring you all the latest updates as they're being released. A lot of stuff going on right now. Enjoy. Make sure to hit that subscribe button right down below the video. I'll continue to be here for you each and every day with all of these updates as they are released. So, enjoy. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next video.